So there may be people tuning into this Zoom meeting that feel like they're listening to somebody, that they're sitting down or they're lying down or whatever they're doing. They've joined a meeting and they're listening to someone speak, making a suggestion or communicating something. It can be that that sense of being somebody can fall away. It's not a goal of this. It's not a goal of this communication. It's possible that the sense of feeling like a contracted, separate self can dissipate. Um, and that's what's being suggested here, is that that sense of being separate self is artificial. It's not actually real. All the time you feel like a person, an individual. There's a energetic contraction, and there's the world out there, and there's you. There's life, and there's my life. And there's a sense in that having a life, that you are moving in time, moving forward, and the past is behind you. This is the present. You're moving, and through your own volition and your hard work, that you're going to arrive somewhere. That everything that's happening to you in your life is as a result of choices you've made, things you've done, things you've not done. And that there's other people in your life. You have relationships, you have friendships, you have. So there's this sense of being a person. It goes taken for granted. It goes unquestioned. It's the dominant perception in the world, is that you are a person. There is separation. You have a life, and you can make of it what you will. All the while, there's that feeling of being separate and having a life. There's a yearning for something that you can't quite put your finger on. There's a searching. There's a sensitivity to a lesser or greater degree, that perception, that reality of being a person and having a life and having a job and having a wife or having a husband and having kids and having friendships and having and living in that real world, that there's a sensitivity, that there's something not quite fulfilling with that. And that sensitivity can be strong or can be weaker. You could be happy in your life or unhappy in your life, and it goes under all of that. It doesn't really matter what's appearing to happen in your life, because there's a continual invitation to see that it's not your life and there's no you. And that's what's going to be talked about here. That's what's going to be shared. That sense of being a person is artificial, and all the while that you felt like a person living in the real, that there was a continual invitation out of that into simply just what appears to be happening. Just this. All the time you feel like a separate person who has a life, that closed loop of me. Nothing within that loop will satisfy. Nothing within that circle will do anything but feed on itself. And what's looked for all the while is simply what appears to be happening. So what was searched for has appeared to hide by already being everything. It's just this, just aliveness, just energy. And it's totally beyond understanding or knowing. It's the separate person that lives in a loop of their own knowing. So this is shared from nothing, from no thing, and questions come from no thing. And it's really not about any answer to any questions, or it's not about getting anything or knowing anything. It's an energetic communication, and what's been said can resonate and does resonate. And that's what this is about. It's about that resonating, that energy. It's not about getting anything. Only the person can get something, can understand this. People can understand this, and it absolutely makes no difference whatsoever. So if there's a question or something to be shared, it's there to be shared. You can't go wrong and you can't go right. William, I see your hand up. I did see your hand up.
Oh, I forgot to unmute it.
Oh, you've been talking away to yourself there, have you? You were probably saying Kenneth is giving me less than usual here. I know he usually gives me sweet FA, but he's really not.
I thought I'd unmuted it. Are you okay anyway?
Yeah.
Great. So for the last maybe 2 hours, when I knew I was going to come onto this Zoom meeting, I've been feeling just intense anxiety. I guess that's the threat that the person feels, that it's just feels that this is a threat to it because it won't survive.
Okay, that's what's happening then. That's what's appearing to happen.
And what I was going to ask, well, I don't know if it's asking or a comment. It seems obvious to me, and I could be wrong, but I think that anxiety that comes up is all connected to the sense of being a person. And I can't help but have the impression that that anxiety would no longer arise if there was no longer the sense of being a person there. And obviously connected to that is the hope that sooner or later the sense of being a separate person is going to fall away, and there'll no longer be that kind of intense discomfort that comes from the anxiety of, I don't know, just feeling like threatened.
The anxiety is it already. So whatever's happening, appearing to happen, is already it. There's no individual that's going to fall away because there's no individual to begin with. When there's a sense of being separate, the energy of being separate is to pull in comfort and push away discomfort. So anything that's not pleasurable and comfortable is rejected by the person and pushed away in some way, shape, or form. And so there's this continual sense that, well, that was it. When I was, in the zone, I was going for a walk, and the sun was going down, and it was just this beautiful sense. And then I came back, and the kids started shouting at me, and blah blah blah, and that was horrible. And that wasn't it, and the other thing was it. I'm just random, whatever. Or I was joining a Zoom, and a sense of anxiety came up, and that anxiety couldn't, maybe if I wasn't feeling like a separate person, that anxiety wouldn't arise. But that's what the person does, is continually pull in one and push away the other. And actually what's looked for is whatever appears to be happening. So when that sense of being a separate person is no longer, then it doesn't matter actually whether it's nice or not nice, if it's pleasurable or unpleasant. It's just what appears to be happening, and that's it. There's nothing that isn't it.
And obviously the person discriminates and gives value to different things, like, okay, that felt nice, so that's, I enjoy that, that has more value than feeling uncomfortable. Would you say that when that sense of being a person apparently falls away, there's no longer any more value in one thing than another?
Of course, yeah. There's just what ever appears to happen. There's no value in anything. Nothing has any value. It's just energy. Special things being special and having value only come from the mind of the person who feels separate to everything. The dualism of special, not special, all emanates from that sense of being a separate person. So that all collapses, and there's just whatever appears to be happening, which is just energy, which is nothing being everything. Everything is nothing. So it's all energy. So, and actually nothing is happening. This is nothing appearing to happen.
And also,
You don't get better. That's better nothing now than that other nothing.
and also the experience of being someone is that these things are happening to me, and so therefore I suffer because of these things, whether it's anxiety or whatever it is. I'm assuming or asking, when that sense of being someone no longer appears anymore, there's no longer the sense that these things are happening to me, whether they're pleasurable or unpleasurable. So there's no longer somebody suffering or feeling like they're gaining.
There's just what appears to be happening. Some of it could be very unpleasant, and that would be what would appear to be happening. It couldn't be any other way. Like the idea that, you know, what the mind does of the individual, the apparent individual, is it turns this into some carrot that, you know, when you're not there anymore, or you don't feel like a separate person, then, you know, nothing's going to bother you anymore, really. There's going to be no anxiety anymore. There's going to be no this or that. It turns it into this another goal, really. It's not describable, and yet it's incredibly ordinary. It's just whatever appears to happen. It's just whatever appears to be happening. That's already it. And there's already nobody there. There is no separate person anywhere.
But the appearance of being a separate person seems to happen.
Yeah, that's in what appears to happen. There appears to be individuals. Not from this perspective, there doesn't appear to be individuals. There's bodies who report themselves to be separate individuals with choice and control over their lives. And this question also arises then because there clearly is looking for something. And from here, it's obviously that there's nothing to get. There's just this. This is what's being looked for. So a question comes from no thing and an answer comes from nothing. And it's heard as it's heard.
The way that, what I struggle with about that is that if there's already no one here or anywhere, it seems to me, and it might just be my assumption, part of what you're saying about this sounding like a carrot, is that there's certain things that seem to appear when there's a sense of being an individual, whether that's things like anxiety or neurosis or tension or, you know, certain neurotic patterns. Whereas it seems to me from what I've heard that when there's no longer the sense of being someone, a lot of that falls away. And I know
it can do, yeah, but that, you know, it's it's not describable. Like any effort you make there to try and understand, or any person to try to understand or imagine what it's like, it's complete nonsense. It's not imaginable by the person, and yet it's incredibly ordinary because it's already just this. There already is no individual there. But what happens is that energy of feeling like a separate person just continually rejects what is in favor of what might be, and continually ignores what's been looked for, as the energy of me just continually goes around in a closed loop. And that it's not a goal of this Zoom meeting for that to stop, because it's only an appearance. It's just what appears to be happening. And this is just heard as it's heard then. Nothing actually happens.
So for the character Kenneth, there's no longer any kind of fantasies about becoming anything.
There's just what appears to be. There's just what appears to be happening. It's not describable. But it's clearly, this is clearly boundless and whole and unknowable, indescribable oneness, if you want to put that name on it. And there's nothing other than this. There's nothing better than this. I'll go and take another question, William. There's a couple of hands up here.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you.
Okay. I'm struggling a bit with these contacts, so probably have them in too long. So forgive my squinting. Zoltan.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, Kenneth.
Hey.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering whether you can elaborate a bit more on the resonance.
Yeah, I mean, it's really energetic. The whole thing is just totally energetic. For the person, it's really about knowing and understanding. So if someone feels like an individual and they join this meeting and they hear what's being suggested, that this is boundless, this is oneness, this is unconditional love, you know, that sounds fantastic, and I would like that. So the person would try and know that. Then they want to know that what's being suggested. They want to know it, and they want to have it, and they want to integrate it into their lives. It's not like that at all. That's how the apparent individual operates. It's completely energetic. And when this is heard, the closest that word that I can come to, and many other people, I think, who are communicating, where there's a clear communication, is resonance. It resonates. It just resonates. It's just very, very obvious. More obvious than obvious. It's just so, it just hums. It's impossible to describe, but this realization for nobody that what was looked for is always just, has always been and always is just simply what appears to be happening.
And
And that's not graspable or understandable or knowable.
And I suppose you use the word energetic for lack of a better word, because energetic seems to be a thing to me.
Oh yeah. No, it's not in that way. The reason I gravitate towards using the word energy is it's not a thing to most people. It's not conceptual, or it's not like, you know, but it is energy. Yeah, all there is energy, which is like what people perceive as a solid, real thing is actually just energy. You know, that's been revealed or shown on a quantum basis. Quantum physicists have shown that door there is just energy dooring, you know, and that's how that's pointed towards or described. But in relation to the resonance also, so what's been suggested is resonating, but can also, there can be the individual, the apparent individual is hearing this and doesn't want what's being said, and tries to know it or understand it or reject it in some way, which is fine. That's just what appears to be happening. So it's very common for there to be a very kind of strong resonance, or some sort of resonance to what's being said, and then at the same time a kind of pushing away from this, a rejection of it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that for the person there is nothing to be gained here.
Yeah,
there's nothing on offer, and there's no, but like this resonance thing sounds like a bait to me. So now
Oh yeah, I mean, there's
you
no
have
way of
given
saying
me a
it.
reason to attend these meetings because yeah, I want to resonate. I want to
Oh
have
yeah,
that
but there's
presence.
no way of any communicating anything without it sounding like a carrot to the person. So if the person said, "Well, that sounds like bait to me," well, then that's what's happening then.
Yeah, I took the
You know, you can turn it. The person will either turn it into something or not. The individual's not being spoken to here anyway, so it's just going to be heard as it's heard, and that's unconditional love. That's perfect. If someone apparently tunes in here and said this is a load of bullshit, then that's what's happening. It's a load of bullshit. There's nothing to defend here. There's nothing to, you know, there's no right or wrong.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just here, and
Oh, you're not. You're not.
no, yeah.
You're not
But
actually. It's incredible. You're not actually attending a Zoom meeting. You're not speaking there. You didn't just speak there.
yeah, but there's this
You're not
body.
speaking. You're not
There
speaking.
is this body here, like bodying or
Yeah, that's all there is. Yeah,
stepping.
that's all there ever is. Anywhere. They're just speaking. The person then thinks I'm speaking, and then there's hearing, and the person thinks I'm hearing, and the person thinks they're sitting, and the person thinks, well, I'm sitting. It's me that's sitting here. There's this continual addition of me to everything, and everything that's pouring through the senses almost pours through this artificial me. So everything that's seen is seen. It's me seeing, it's me hearing, it's me touching, it's me tasting, it's me smelling. And it's incredible that there is no me. There never has been.
And there is no
There's
way to
just
stop
smelling.
it.
No,
There's
because
no
it
way
hasn't even
to stop
started.
the illusion.
It hasn't even started. So
Yeah.
it can't be stopped.
I mean, it feels
Because
real.
it's an appearance. It's not actually real. The person's living in the real. So the person is in this half alive reality. Everything is everything is real because they're real. Subject object, everything is an object, everything is a thing, everything is real, and everything is not seen as it actually is then.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve,
Hi, Kenneth.
how you doing?
Okay. I wanted to follow up a little on the resonance question.
Mm.
Is it fair to say that the absolute, or what is in resonance with itself at
No,
all times?
there is no absolute that's in resonance with itself. This is the relative and the absolute now. Asking that, just ask that question. You know, there's no separate thing called the absolute that is in resonance with itself. That's two different things.
So that's creating an object.
Yeah, it's not imaginable. It's just this. It's just that this is the absolute. This is the relative and the absolute, because there is only what appears to be, which is boundless, infinite, eternal. It's just simply this.
But so the energy doesn't resonate. If there's resonance, so nothing is resonate.
Yeah, this is no thing being everything, everything being no thing. And in that energy, there seems to be this sense of feeling separate. So there's this sense of being an individual person, and that has a life. So there's life and there's my life. And there's a sense, a contracted sense of being inside here somewhere, behind the eyes, in the body. And that's a lived reality for the person. So what's being suggested here is that is a story, that sense of being separate is not real, and that can resonate then. That's
So if there's a feeling of resonance,
mm-hmm.
or a kind of a humming, or that would be both real and not real.
Yeah, everything is real and not real. But the person lives in the real, only in the real, and the not real isn't seen. So, because it can't be. So if you want to put it this way, the person is living in in the real, only in the real. It can only see something, and the no thing is never ever seen by the person. So that's that half alive feeling. And in actuality, everything is no thing, and no thing is everything. But for it to be seen as nothing, as no thing, it can't be seen from that artificial center of me. It can't. For it to be seen as it actually is, it's that there's no longer a sense of feeling like a separate person. So everything is lost. My life is lost. I don't have anything. I don't have a life anymore. I'm not a person, a separate person anymore. And then there's just what appears to be happening, which is nothing and everything. It's not describable. It can sound terribly esoteric and, whatever way it sounds, but it's extremely ordinary. And then
well, now it's sounding more and more, to me,
okay.
Everything now sounds more and more ordinary.
Okay. So in that sense, it's, yeah, it's just this, it's just, I forget what else I was going to say there.
Thank you.
I was sharing some amazing nugget there and I just went. Hi, Deirdre.
Hi, Kenneth. I have to get through some anxiety because I talked with you once before, but this is unfamiliar to me to.
Yeah, so that's what's appearing to happen. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
If there's anxiety, it's that's what's appearing to happen. There's no issue with anything.
So something.
It's just energy.
Since I've been exposing myself more, you and also a little bit to Tony Parsons, certain things are coming into my consciousness, like say from previous experience, that were kind of back in the mind, but they're coming more to the forefront right now. And one of them is an image. Did you ever see the, it was a kind of public display that toured around, I think maybe in the 90s or early 2000s, called Bodyworks. Is that familiar to you? Bodyworks was a number of bodies. People had donated their bodies to science, and this group kind of took apart the body and displayed it in all its elements. Like they took different sections of the body and put it on public display.
Yeah,
and they were all.
Yeah.
Remember that? That was years and years ago, right? So they were all actual physical bodies of different ages and male and female. And then they were kind of displayed for people to really see what the body was, right? So one of the images that has kind of stayed in my mind, at the time, like I remember the one that I was most attracted to in the display was kind of in a plastic glass or a kind of see-through column. And it was the human brain with all the filaments of the nervous system descending from it. So, and to me, that was what the essence of, that's what resonated then, was the essence of the human, is the brain with the nerve endings. And then everything else is kind of amplifies that or expresses it or does something with it. But the essence of where the actual the life force or the energy force seems to be in is the brain connected to the to the filament. So it's kind of like, it looks like an alien in a sense, like just this kind of soft tissue mass, and then all these filaments kind of descending from it. And it's quite lovely in a way, but because it's ethereal in a certain kind of sense. But anyway, so that image has kind of come into my mind in recent weeks. And last night I got a new smart TV before Christmas, so I've been kind of playing with it a bit, and it has YouTube capacity, so it gives you a number of things to watch on YouTube, like just kind of spontaneous. And so one of them last night was a neuroscientist who was talking about like the same kind of idea of the brain and the nervous system, but then the role of the neurotransmitters in terms of interfacing with stimulation, you know, from what's outside, and also stimulation from what's coming from within the system. Like, so that added that other kind of dimension of the interaction or the interface with, you know, a parent inside or a parent outside, you know, kind of thing. So that's where my mind is going, in a sense of appreciating the like the kind of non-physicality of the whatever it is, the information or whatever it is that, you know, our ability to be here and express in certain ways, or whatever it is that we're doing here. It kind of is just coming out of this kind of brain mass with nerve endings, and then let's add some neurotransmitters and a number of things.
It's all just energy, really. You know, these are what the words are scientific, you know, nerve endings and neurons and brain, you know, neurotransmitters, acetylcholine, noradrenaline, serotonin, you know, all of these, you know, these lovely descriptions of mechanisms, and all it is energy. All it is just energy. And that sense of, you know, within those functioning mechanics, what arises, what's really interesting is what arises is a sense of inside, inner, and outside. So the inner is that sense, the energetic sense that I'm a person and I'm here in here, and it's my heart that's pumping blood around my body, and it's my brain with all its lovely interconnections and neurons that, you know, through the nervous system is connected with, you know, and all of this stuff. What's incredible is there is nobody in there. There's nobody in there. There is no inner and there is no outer. That's one of the things when you'd often hear this, when that sense of me falls away, inner and outer just collapses. It's just gone. It's just gone. And the reason it's gone is because it was an aspect of you. It was an aspect of that energetic sense of feeling like you. You know, and all of those things you spoke about that actually are interesting. Of course, they are the way the human body works and all of that, but it's never going to get to anywhere. It's from a perspective, from a scientific perspective of, you know, a lot. It's also just exploration and play, and it is what it is. But underlaying it is the premise that there's a person, and there are people. And we are accumulating scientific knowledge that is bringing us somewhere. And it's a total and utter illusion. There's nowhere to get to. And all it is just energy. All it is energy. None of it means anything. So in what's being said here is that liberation is that sense of that energetic, contracted sense of separation can collapse. And when it collapses, it's seen that it was never there. It didn't even collapse because it was never real. So what's left is nothing and everything, which is this. It's always been just this. It's very obvious that that sense of being separate was never even happened. So what was being yearned for all the time was always just whatever appeared to be. And that's the biggest realization for nobody, or that's the biggest. It's incredible. Nothing can compare to it. Nothing, no experience that the person can have can compare to not being anybody, to liberation. to just this, to just being just stunning. I loved, thank you for your description, actually. It was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Kenneth,
I
it
mean,
is a
that's what
very
we,
good.
that's what we are, as robots. We're just robots. Sorry. Who jumped in there?
Yeah, I was.
Oh yeah, sorry, Victoria.
Sorry, I interrupt you. Actually, here is a very good question. Kenneth, can you explain this to your wife? Is she like you? Thanks, so I'm very interested in this.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm having a hard time with the questions. My contacts are in too long.
Yeah, that's why
They're
I
in
asked.
since about
Yeah,
6:30 this morning, and I'm the chat is kind of swimming around there. No, not really. She doesn't have very much interest. So it's yeah.
Actually,
I could talk.
I'm.
She's my wife, so I could talk to her about anything. But there's not on her, from her perspective, there's not a whole lot of interest in this, which is absolutely brilliant. It's perfect. There's nothing to be into. There's nothing to agree. There's nothing to. It's not like I'm a Buddhist and I need to be married to a Buddhist or somebody who concurs with a philosophy or whatever.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. And she's not my wife. That's the whole suggestion here, is what's being said, is that that whole sense of being a person and having my wife, my son, my daughter, my car, my job, my, me. It's just totally taken for granted all the while. And it's not, it's an illusion. You don't have anything. You can't. It's just what appears to be happening. Christiane.
Hello, Kenneth. When you said energy, could could we sense feel energy? If I have a sensation of energy, is it I make it a thing?
Well, yeah, there is only energy.
Yeah.
So there's only energy. That's all there is. And this is energy. That's energy just asking a question. They are speaking, and this is energy just speaking.
Okay.
So it's not like when I speak about a resonance, it's not a thing. It's not something that could be understood, but it's also undeniable. An energetic. It's the closest word I can use to this. When this is being shared, when it's heard, it resonates. It's just so obvious. Then when it's seen, it's just so obvious. Often you get a lot of laughter because it's too obvious. What's looked for, what's being pointed towards is too obvious for the person, because they're continually rejecting what appears to be in favor of what might be. And it's simply just, the first aspect of this that was really mind-blowing for this character was the complete ordinariness of what was sought. It was just so ordinary. That was amazing. It was amazing that what appeared to hide would hide, or appear to hide, by already just being everything. And I mean, that's why what's said at the beginning is, what's said about that resonance is that that stands in contrast to communications usually speak to somebody and they offer something that can be grasped intellectually and that can be known in some way, and then the person then wants that, they want to hear something that they can do something with and they can integrate into their life to make their life work. And what's been said here is, you don't have a life. There's only life, there's only energy. And then that can just resonate. It can be, it can also be very confronting to that feels that it has a life. Extremely, it can be very, very confronting what's being said here. Doesn't have to be, but can be.
But that energy, could I feel it? Is the body could feel there is an...
You would be it. It wouldn't be a you. It's not that you can feel it. If you're
Okay.
feeling it, that's just a sense of you, but it can be felt. It can, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
If there's a you involved in it in any way, then that's just the energy of being a you, and then that's just a concept or an idea or an experience, and then that's not what's being suggested. That's just what's been. That's also just what appears to be happening. In a way, there's not in a way. There's nothing that isn't it. There's absolutely nothing that isn't it already.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey,
Really?
Kenneth.
Hey, how you doing?
It's Louise. Hi.
Oh, Louise, how you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. You?
Good.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say now. I must have been. Anyway, I was going to say sometimes, I mean, we've had many discussions and, oh yeah, sometimes the word, why, we use the word energy. And it just strikes me for want of, there's no word that you can actually use, and we get stuck on that word sometimes and say, explain why.
No, there's no better word. No, yeah.
There's no better word. And sometimes I used to think, we've talked about, the no thing being everything. And I used to think, why don't we talk about the nothingness? How can you describe the nothingness? And we've talked about it before. Some people go down a rabbit hole of that way. But then it struck me that we are talking about the nothingness, because the nothingness is the everythingness, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's not two. There's not two different things. There's not nothing and then this other thing called everything. Right now, this is nothing being everything and everything being nothing. The words are very inadequate, and then therefore, ergo, oneness.
Yes. Yeah.
Now we have oneness. Yeah, that's, the words are just like, I mean, the words are just words, really. I mean, the words are, they are and they aren't. They're used to kind of elucidate, illuminate, whatever word you want to use, the kind of artificial reality of being a person, which is held as being absolutely real. And it can really do that and show very clearly that sense of how could you have a life? Who are, that can become clear. But it is really energetic. The communication is an energetic resonance. And
in that way, you mean beyond words?
It's beyond words, yeah, because it's nothing to do with a you that can get or not get. And it can be that sense of being separate is no longer then. And then it's seen by nobody that it was never there. And it's seen that whatever appears to be happening is it. It doesn't matter if it's pain, if it's pleasure, if it's whatever. And there's the freedom then. Whereas the person feels, oh, I was clear there. I was so clear for a few days, and I just was in this flow and I was getting on great. And now there's confusion and I'm kind of feeling a bit shitty. I didn't want to get out of bed this morning. There's this continual struggle with what appears to be happening. And if that's well, I was there a couple of days ago, I'm not there now. What I got to do is, get back to where I was, and all of this. And this constant kind of struggle with what's appearing to happen, and this push pull with it, and that all just totally collapses And then if there's confusion, then there's confusion, and it's free. It's free. Everything is just free to be as it is. Then if there's pain, it's pain. That's what's appearing to happen. And it doesn't, that stickiness to everything kind of is no longer there.
They can be an incredible, it can seem very heightened in some experiencing, then it's incredibly, pain can be very painful, or joy, joyful, and sometimes very radical in that sense.
It's more, things are felt more than when there's a person there filtering everything. You know, a nice analogy for that is the description you'd often hear of Westerners, or often the poor old Americans get labeled with it, but I think you could just say Western culture being medicated to the point that they're no longer feeling
numb.
They're numb, exactly. Yeah, so they can't feel, they're kind of, they're not happy that they can't feel pleasure anymore.
Yeah.
But you see all that pain you were cutting out there, you know. So what did you want? Like, you just wanted the pleasure and none of the pain. So they get this kind of numbed, you know, the person is, the individual is kind of like that. It's this dampener on everything. It filters everything. So it can, when there's that sense of being a separate person in a bubble, the bubble can kind of be more comfortable. So pain isn't as painful. It's not as strong, but everything else will be not as strong either.
As well.
And then all that while there's this sense of keeping this safe bubble of me alive and safe. And that is essentially the person, is that keeping that world of them safe. And that's how the person appears to negotiate and relate as they move through. They appear to move through the world by, you know, you're either going to make my bubble not safer or more comfortable, or you're going to burst it in some way. So I'm going to avoid you and I'm going to draw you in. And nothing is as seen as it actually is. There's just that continual kind of negotiating for something that's going to be better, that's going to come down the line at some point.
Yeah. Great. The lady before, I saw the Bodyworks exhibition in Rome once. It was of the plasticized human bodies. It was great.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. Yeah,
it was. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. Okay. See you soon. Hopefully, somewhere.
yeah, lovely to see you. Say hello to David for me. Yeah,
I will. He's hammering downstairs, framing a picture.
Okay. Sounds very manly.
It does. It does.
Adri.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. I wrote a question because I didn't know how to raise the hand, and William told me how to.
Okay.
So it's like this is coming over and over in my mind, like, okay, there is nothing that can be changed because there is no one to change anything. Everything is apparently happening, yet nothing is happening. And at the same, so that would mean that all the emotions, all the feelings, all the, you name it, science, everything, no one is actually doing it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. That's exactly it.
No one can change anything either. Like, let's say when you have pain, some pain, and you go to the doctor, you think one could say, I am not going to the doctor, yet it's not me that is going to the doctor.
No, going to the doctor is what appears to happen. Yeah.
Exactly. So the only little detail actually is that the me is not there anymore. That's the
Oh, no, it's exactly the same. Yeah, exactly. That's like, there's no difference here between this character, Kenneth, and anybody here. Nothing at all, except that there may be people who would say, well, I still feel like a separate person. So when there's driving the car, I still feel I'm driving the car. Whereas here, there's just driving the car.
So how is for you
driving the car is driving the car. There is no me. It's the same. Like, there's no, the liberation is the same as feeling like a separate person, because it's exactly, it's already just this, and yet it's indescribably different.
Yeah.
And it's indescribably different because that sense of everything filtering through this me is no longer there.
Yeah, the me tries to understand everything and work it out and somehow, but it's impossible.
Yeah, because the me lives in a loop of its own knowing. It lives in a sense that it can know the world that it's in and understand it. Yeah, and that's a very real feeling for the person. The more I know, the more I can control the world, the better life I can have. And it feels very, very real, that sense of knowing. And in actuality, this is totally unknowable. It's completely, immediately, just so immediately this. It can't actually be known.
Yeah, so sometimes after listening to these talks, sometimes something happens to me and I say, okay, then now, okay, what is happening? Oh, I feel so much hurt, but no, I'm not there. So I start reasoning, you know, the me starts thinking about all these other things that no one is there and so on. And then I freeze. I don't know what to do. Shall I do something about it? And yeah, I guess until that happens, no one will know about it.
Yeah, I mean, but that's just what appears to be happening then. So like that's what's appearing to happen. It's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's nothing that isn't already it. There's nothing that isn't already it. But it's that sense of feeling like a person. There's that sense of, well, this is it and that isn't. You know, this nice thing, this pleasurable thing that happened is it, and this unpleasant, painful thing, that isn't it. That all comes from the sense of feeling separate. And that just totally collapses then. So when that collapses, then if there's a thought of, oh, fuck it, what am I going to do with this? Well, then it is that thought, oh, fuck it. It is, there's nothing that isn't it. I suppose that's much.
Yeah. So even all these things that we are massively now working out about the law of attraction and this and that, similar things, that's also happening. It's not something that is better than the other, or
no, there's no better or worse. There's the law of attraction, and all of those similar spiritual endeavors are just within the wheel of the individual. They speak to the individual, they feed the individual, they comfort the individual, and they maintain that sense of separateness. They're not wrong, they're just what appears to be happening.
Yeah. So and what changed for you? I mean, for Kenneth, you know, Kenneth me disappeared, and Kenneth
apparently nothing actually happens. That's the thing. That's the cruel thing about it. Like nothing happens because it's something is happening only from that perspective of feeling like a separate person. So in the person's mind, the separate person's mind, it's that I'm a person, I did something, and then, or something happened to me, and then I'm in this state or something like that. It's not like that at all. And nothing that appears to, there is no liberation even, but that sense of feeling like a person, a separate self, can no longer be there, or may no longer be there. But it would have nothing to do with what appeared to precede it. But that's only because the person, that's impossible for the individual then, because the individual lives in this linear sense of moving forward in a causal world where one thing causes another, and then whatever is happening to me. In actuality, this is nothing appearing to happen. The story has been told here many, many times, but it's irrelevant, it's not irrelevant. Nobody's story of liberation is of any relevance whatsoever, because nothing actually happens to them. But the person wants to hear it very much, because the person essentially wants to extrapolate something from the story that they can apply to their own lives, because that's the way the world is. It's like something, you did A, B, and C, and then this happened to you. Well, then if I do A, B, and C, then that might happen to me.
Yeah, that's our
Nothing's
teacher.
going to happen to you because you're not there.
Yeah. Yes, right. Thank you.
Thanks. Lovely to speak to you.
Same.
Saeed. Did I say your name
Hi,
wrong?
Ken. Yes,
Saeed.
hi, how are you? It's my second time here. I was here last time, but I didn't ask any questions. But I wasn't sure how to use this screen.
Yeah, people don't get much help from me either, do they?
I think my question was probably you just answered it. Everything you say is understood and believed to be the truth. Everything is just happening.
Yeah,
And
I wouldn't say
I
it's a
understand.
truth from this perspective. It's not a truth, but it's yeah.
I believe it as like right. I understand that everything is happening,
Yeah,
and
appearing to happen.
and I'm not here, and the story is illusion as well. But it's the me is just doesn't leave the scene. I was writing a question of the me just doesn't it stays part of what's happening, but the the me that wants to know it may be it's insecure. He probably is gonna feel insecure or some kind of security. But then I start looking. I think that I should look at the security part of it. Like he wants to be safe in this. But then looking at that again is going back into the story. So it's, it just doesn't kind of disappear somehow.
Yeah, so the sense of there's a sense of being a me there. That's what's happening then. That's what's appearing to happen. So there's just whatever's appeared to happen, and you're saying there's a sense of feeling separate is still appearing to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When I look at it, it kind of, I don't know. It's like a tongue twister. Looking at it, Sam kind of being involved in going back on the wheel again, and then I keep doing that. But then I think, no, stop. So when I stop, you feel like you're back into the story.
Who would start and who would stop?
There's
who could start and who could stop?
There's no one. There's
Nobody.
nobody.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nobody.
There's nobody to stop anything or start anything. That's just what's appearing to happen.
Yeah.
There's nothing that isn't it.
Yeah, but there's something inside still wants to like solidify this understanding or.
Oh yeah, when it comes to the me wants to do all sorts of stuff. I mean, the me isn't being spoken to here. There's no there's no individual being spoken to or addressed from this perspective. Because the me can only just be a me. The me does not want what's being said here at all. So if there's what's being said is not being heard by the me can just can only reject it really by either turning it into something or that it isn't or whatever. The me is irrelevant. It doesn't matter because it's only artificial anyway.
Yeah, I was watching one of your other Zoom on YouTube meeting, and you say to somebody else that this cannot be understood, but I heard it as as an objective sense, like this what is as an object cannot be understood, and that kind of brought about a relaxation there was a letting go at the time.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the way, that's very much the way it is. I've often heard or got emails or got calls from people that, you know, when this particular thing was said, or sometimes interestingly enough, the way it was said, there was just, you know, this sense of, it's not describable, but if, you know, you could say relaxation, or just a
Yeah.
sense of everything was just different. And it was just this. And that has nothing to do with Kenneth. That's very much reflective of what we were kind of talking about at the beginning, that this is an energetic resonance, and it just resonates. Boom, it can just resonate. Oh, there's just sitting, and there's just the light there, and there's just whatever. And suddenly it's very obvious, very, very obvious. And then that play of being having a sense of being a person can appear to come back or not. And then, you know, it just kind of plays out as it plays out.
Yeah, it comes back and it says, yes, I understand this.
Yeah, the person, when the individual thinks they can understand this thing, do something with it, and blah blah blah, and it just that's nothing right or wrong with that, but it's irrelevant compared to it's irrelevant in regard to what's being suggested.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. William.
Hiya. So what I wanted to ask about is, you've been saying throughout this meeting to different people that what's being spoken about is just very ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
And you also said to somebody else that when it's heard, it can be very, very confronting.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm wondering is, because like I said, I had anxiety at the start of the meeting, and in the body there's all these kind of sensations like, you know, I'm going to vomit, or it's very confronting. Why is it that the me doesn't want to hear this?
Well, there was anxiety, or there is anxiety. So that's just energy. That's just what's appearing to happen. And that actually is unconditional love. That's just perfect. There's nothing right or wrong with that. There's nothing that needs to be done with that. Boom.
Because what I'm thinking is, if what you're talking about is just something so ordinary and so simple, it's not a threat, because it can't be a threat to anyone.
It's a threat to the energetic sense of being a real individual separate person. That's the threat. The threat that lived reality is not real. So it's the end of me. It's death to me. So that's very, 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 very threatening. It's extremely threatening. It's death. The death is quite threatening to people. People find it quite threatening, because death is actually an absence, your own absence. That's essentially what it's all boiling down to. Death is your own absence, and the divine comedy is you're not there. So what's being yearned for is your absence, and what you're most afraid of is your absence, because the energy of being a me feels very, very threatened.
So the energy of being a me wants to survive.
Yeah, the energy, the me is just being a me. That's the whole function of me, is just to this closed loop of me. I am a person. I have a life. I'm in here. I'm in this body. This is my body. This is my hand, mine. Fuck off and get your own hand. This is my hand. This is my voice. This is my me. Everything is me. It's so taken for granted, this sense of me, that there is a me there. And in actuality, there's just life handing, life hands, life bodies, life voices, life. There's just energy.
So the me takes ownership of everything, because I've heard.
But the thing is, the me is an appearance. This is the impossible part of this communication, is that we're speaking about something that is only apparently real. It's not. You won't get anywhere with this intellectually or knowing or understanding, because it's the apparent me who knows and understands and gets.
Yeah, I think what it is as well is because I think it was Tony Parsons said in an interview that the collapse of the apparent sense of being someone was the end of the person who'd had all the different experiences throughout that apparent life. And I think it's struggling to let go of taking ownership of this happened to what you were saying. This is my hand. This is happening to me. And a big thing for me would be, these are my achievements and accomplishments, what I've achieved and accomplished. The me doesn't want to hear that.
Oh yeah, this is ridiculous communication to the me. It's ludicrous. It's horrendous. It's horrible. You know, I mean, the me wants nothing to do with this, really. You know, why would they? I mean, it's the me in general, the individual, is drawn towards communications that feed that sense of, validate that sense of being a separate person. And what's remarkable about this communication is it's not doing that, but yet people appear to be drawn to it and resonating with it. But it's not the person that's drawn to it. It's that what they actually are, which is nothing and everything. And it stands in stark contrast to all the other communications, because it's so boundless. It's like nothing else. If it's actually heard, it's stunning.
I agree. It is stunning. Despite feeling threatened, it is freedom, boundlessness, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's there's also no communication. There's no message. There's no Zoom meeting. What's being suggested here is just very, very ordinary and simple, that not what you, but what is actually being looked for always is just what appears to be happening. Simply, what is being looked for by the parent person is just what appears to be happening. It cannot be escaped. What's looked for is inescapable. It's whatever appears to be arising. If there's anxiety, it already is that anxiety. And then it can be just, okay, everything is free, everything is free, everything is free, anything can arise. Boom, and it's full on, and it's dangerous again. It's not safe and knowable and comfortable in that bubble of me.
And even though you say it's dangerous, there wouldn't be anyone left feeling vulnerable at the same time.
No, there's not. It's not dangerous in that sense. It's there's nobody left feeling. There's just feeling. There's the immediacy of it is just there's nobody who has a feeling. There's just that feeling. But that's the way it is for everyone, except that there's this artificial sense of being separate kind of overlays everything then, and there's this veil of, oh well, I feel like a person and I feel like a life. Well, fair enough then you crack on with your life and make as good a job as you can with it then, and come back and give me an email in a couple of years when it's not working out, or give someone else. You know, sometimes it's that, you know, it can be people engage a little bit with this, or it resonates and they go away and they come back then appear to come back because once that whole story of you having a life and you just have to work harder, you just have to put more effort in, you just have to understand more, once that all starts to fall apart, it becomes very obvious.
Yeah, I've already reached that stage where I know nothing else is going to work. I tried harder and harder and harder, got more and more and more and more, and it was just obvious it's never going to be enough. So yeah, this is the last, I don't want to say the last hope, but this is the only communication that this is the only
Well, if
communication
this
that
is your last hope, William, you're fucked. This is the most hopeless communication that could ever be.
But I mean, in terms of what you said about people might hear this, play of it, go and try harder. I've done all that trying harder, getting more and more. And so I don't mean this is my last hope. I mean, this is the only thing that could resonate now. Like this, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that the whole progressive endeavor of you being a person and you just needing to do something and then get somewhere, it just all, when it's seen through, it just all starts. It's very obviously nonsense.
Fucking hell. Thank you.
Thanks. Sorry, Kane, that was for everyone. Not tapping you. So, yeah. Victoria.
I'm very happy because I found the hand.
Yeah. After about 10 months, we find the hand.
No, sometimes I find, but after everything
Yeah.
is
And I think every week then I said, oh, I'll probably find that for next week and I can tell people where.
Yeah, actually everything is new, you know, and I have to think about what happened.
Yeah.
No, I never said I'm not blonde, you know, so. I was thinking one thing. I read somewhere, if someone is free, can live with everybody without any problem or something, but someone who asked that question, what I read before, actually is refer to my question. So I didn't understand why would they do that.
So if someone was to be really free, they could live without anybody. Is it? Is that what?
Actually, my program is, you know, I was a Krishna consciousness man. So if someone had a husband, of course, from there. And actually, if I'm happy and free, I am not a woman and I'm not a man. So why would I do that? You know, so absolutely, I don't understand now.
Okay, I thought you were Catholic nun. You came across like a Catholic nun to me. I'm joking. I don't know what the question is really, Victoria.
Yeah. Why would they do that?
Lost with it. Well, I suppose what I would say is that the sense of you know, being around other people, other apparent people, is not a choice or an idea or anything. It's actually a physiological hardwiring into the body to be. So it's a very conceptual thing that someone would say, if you were to be free, you wouldn't want to be around others. This is freedom. There is only freedom, which is just what appears to be happening. This is now freedom. Computery, light, energy, talking, this is it. This is freedom, absolute freedom. And that it is in whatever appears to happen is absolutely free already. And so if being around other people, apparent people, then that's a draw to be apparently on your own or not on your own, then that's what's appearing to happen. It doesn't matter. One, it wouldn't be better than the other. If I think I understand what you're saying, but I could be off.
Okay, thank you.
Maureen, yeah, if you're into, okay. How do you, did someone want to tell Maureen how to raise her hand? Is it not in chat?
Actually, they did, thanks.
Okay, it's in participants, is it, Maureen?
It is, it
No.
is.
If you're on the app, if you're using a phone, then it's under more.
Okay.
If you're on a computer, then it's under participants, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Nice to see you, Maureen.
Good to see you too. Hey, Kenneth, could you please talk about this Friday night, this extended Zoom meeting?
Oh yeah, Friday. Yeah, so going to do a longer Zoom on Friday. 1 o'clock GMT. So we've done a few of them now. They're great. So what I do is people just sign up, and I'll send the Zoom link and the password, and it's just, you know, it's just kind of it's just longer. So it gives it an opportunity to, well, it doesn't give anything actually. It's just the same. It's just the same as this really, but it's just longer, yeah. And so we take about 2 breaks. I've taken about two 20-minute breaks or so. So it's it is a good 3.5 hours ish from 1 o'clock, yeah. So all you got to do is email me. That's the difference. I guess the difference between the Sunday night is people just jump on, jump off, that kind of thing. But people are signing up. You don't have to be available for the whole thing, but generally that people would be kind of interested in signing up for the afternoon, more or less, you know. Higher death rates on Friday. So that's it, Maureen. Was there anything else you were wondering about with it?
No, I'll send in my email, and it'll be good to see you.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah. Did you do one before? No.
No, it's actually 2 a.m. New Zealand time, but doesn't matter.
Oh
It'll be
goodness.
fun.
So what would suit you better, a morning one or?
No, any time's good. Any time
Yeah.
at all around it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Kane's just saying there, can you still be affected by racism, sexism, verbal abuse? I experience sexism all the time. It's terrible. I'll have a right rant about it on Friday. No, so seriously, what's being said here is that sense of being a person, being an individual, and living like you have a life and there's life, that is artificial, that it's an appearance, it's not real, and that is the case here, but it's also the case in everyone who's listening here to this. It's always been the case. So when that is no longer, then you don't, there's only what appears to be happening. It's impossible to describe, and it's ludicrously ordinary. There's nobody, if somebody was to be abusive towards this character, that's what would appear to be happening. There's no longer a sense here that there's a separate person over there that's abusive to me. So things stop happening to you because you're not there for them to happen to. And there is only boundless oneness, which is nothing and everything. It's life and death are not two different things. There's just energy. So there's just whatever appears to happen. That's not understandable or knowable. It's very, very ordinary. And that's how it appears to hide. That's how what is being looked for by the person appears to hide, not by being really complicated and difficult to understand or obtain. It actually is the open secret, as many have said, only Parsons in particular. But you know, it's a term that's been used a lot for good reason, because what's being looked for is already just what appears to be.
Kenneth, I heard a
few other
lovely
questions there that I couldn't get
sorry.
to. Sorry, my contacts are struggling. Sorry, Louise, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
I was
Louise.
going to say, I heard a lovely way of somebody described it once, that if you could say anything about this, which you can't, that the only difference it may appear to make in the story is that there's a tendency towards the avoidance of avoidance.
There's a
tendency towards the avoidance of
Yeah.
avoidance.
Okay. Yeah.
I quite liked that one.
That's good. Yeah.
To avoid, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like those Alan Watts
Yeah.
ones, you know.
Which one?
I know that I know. What I'd like to know is the I that knows me when I know that I know that.
Okay, yeah.
Your brain starts hurting after a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's just that sense of, that neurotic sense of kind of controlling and trying to make things different and other than they are and get somewhere, all just collapses. And there's just an in loveness for nobody with what appears to be, even though what appears to be may be unpleasant and painful. There's just this indescribable isness to everything. Everything is already complete, already whole. So it's a nice place to probably finish.
Except, what do you do for the tea and biscuits on Friday? That's always the highlight.
Virtual tea and biscuits.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Right.
They're really good ones because it's virtual. I really can get the real
chocolate.
Triple chocolate chunk ones. Yeah, there's no expense spared on the virtual biscuits, actually. not like my old meetings, you know, you go along and you get a cup of tea and a digestive. That's about all it could rise to. So things have improved in many ways.
Yeah, that's good. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Come on, we had good ones when you were here.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that one, Joey. And good coffee too. Good filtered coffee, good freshly roasted coffee. That was down to Joey though. Yeah, I know, maybe these apparent meetings we'll see what 21 throws up, and if things settle down, to have a, you know, I'd organize a residential pretty quickly, really, I guess, and people would just flock to it by their thousands, no doubt.
Would you say that there's any difference? Do you enjoy any level of enjoyment, or are you okay with the Zoom as opposed to, you know, residential or in person?
Initially, I didn't like Zoom. I didn't even really like the idea of Zoom. I liked the idea of Zoom enough to do Zoom, but I was kind of, I didn't really yeah, I didn't think it would be great. And then I did a few, and I found, you know what? Yeah, it's. I quite enjoy them. Yeah, I enjoy them. Yeah. It's a certain different quality to the energetically when everyone is in a room together, apparently. And I think that when there's a kind of organic, an organic silence, that's a different quality to it. But apart from that, you know, yeah. It's still a mystery. It's just a total mystery. Like it's, you know, you'd get an email of when you said this or when you said that or boom, and that was like boom. It's just so unknowable the way it can just resonate, whether it's a Zoom meeting or it's whatever. You know, it's stunning. It's stunning. It's just this, just energy, just very ordinary, but sought. So what do I do? What do you do for a living? I work in palliative care. This character works in palliative care. Yeah, as a social worker. So that's a role in a story. So if you felt like a person, you would feel I'm working as a social worker, and that's it tends to be part of someone's identity to a greater or lesser degree. Here it's clearly just a role and there's no one doing it, but working with people who are apparently dying, that's it. So, and the interesting thing about that role is that it's very clear and obvious that nobody dies, that it's an energetic shift. That's all. Yeah. So thanks very much. Really lovely to speak to everybody. I put a link in for if anyone wants to contribute. And if anyone wants to sign up for Friday, just shoot me an email and I'll send you the Zoom code and the Zoom link and the password for Friday, this Friday at 1 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kenneth.
See you guys.
Hey,
Thank you.
Kenneth,
Hey,
I
Joey.
just want to give a shout out. I see that there are a couple Hungarian people here, so.
Yeah, I am Hungarian also, Joy. Yes.
Jó estét kívánok, jó estét
Jó
kívánok.
estét kívánok neked is.
I see another guy. I see another guy there that's Hungarian.
Yeah, Zoltán.
I'll have the Hungarian breakout room ready for next time with Hungarian food. Okay, guys, take care.
Thank you. Love you. Love you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Take care. See you soon.
Thank you.